This video is made for adult collectors because the weather was getting nice and cool again, and now all of a sudden it's 35 degrees Celsius. I may have left a mess. Oops. Well, it looks like I know what I'm doing for the next half an hour. Ironhide has had a pretty rough toy history, eh? You have the original Voyager, which is fun but not accurate, the Hunt for the Decepticons Deluxe, which actually sucks to transform, the Dark of the Moon Voyager, which looks like that, the Dark of the Moon Leader, which has its own slew of issues, and then the MPM one. Don't get me started on the MPM one. Oh, and then there's Studio Series as well. Now it's Yolopark's turn, and oh my god, they knocked it out of the park. It looks and feels amazing. There's so much going on inside. There are some weird oddities because of the nature of this design, but I love how this turned out. This was sent over by Yolopark. They've got a lot of Transformers on their site, and they have this guy who should be in stock right now at the time of me posting this, so you can check them out, linked in the description below, and if you use code TOYGUY, you can save 5% off your order, AMK Pro excluded. Thank you very much, Yolopark, for sending this my way. Now back to the actual toy. As far as I know, this is a final release copy because it was sent in final packaging. Normally I get them from Yolopark in either a white blank box or in bubble wrap pre-built, but this time it was all final. And this is a kit you build, but like a Bionicle, not like a Gundam. So it's fairly straightforward, but I will say the assembly wasn't as smooth as I would like it to be. Some of the bits you have to plug in are die cast, and getting them into place can be a little bit tricky, especially the shoulders back here. The instructions have you do it after plugging the truck fronts on, but I'd recommend doing that in the opposite order, because you need a stable surface to push from the other side, and these things move around, making that hard. Getting the feet in place was also a bit of a pain because of how the joint works, but now that it's all together, oh, that's just a CGI model on my desk. One of the things that really makes me appreciate the Bay movies and makes them stand out to me more over the Nightverse ones, apart from the shot comp, the music, the CGI quality, blah, 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 is how shiny the Bay robots were. They reflect light so well on those models that it really helps sell them as real objects in the space. And this does an amazing job at replicating that. Like, if I just move him around in the light, you can see what I mean. The finish they put on here catches the light quite well and makes the whole thing feel like it's made of metal, even though that's only half true. Yeah, he's like half die cast in the lower body. There's a handy dandy map here which shows you where all the metal parts are. Oh, and stickers. I got stickers apparently. There is so much detail in your face that it can be a little bit overwhelming to start, like all the panels along the legs and the bits on the feet. Then there's the doors on the back that do articulate around. Wow. All right, that's how you say that word. I didn't know his license plate was there, to be honest. I've legit never noticed that until just now. One thing I don't like about the aesthetic is the way it does the details in some areas, specifically in the cannons and the bits of rotor, brakes, whatever these are. It feels like that sort of flat surface with slightly raised, mushier details extruded from it, but it really looks like toy detailing and not mechanical detailing. I don't know, it's hard for me to describe how it feels and looks, but I'm not the biggest fan of it. A lot of unlicensed third-party figures do this too, and I just don't vibe with it. Thankfully, the rest of the figure looks fine to me. Head sculpt is fantastic. No issues here. He has his injured eye and his mouth can open and close. There are lights in this, like the cannons and stuff, but for the life of me, I cannot get the battery caps off. They are stuck on mine. I'm sure if I had a plastic spudger lying around, I could do it by like maybe slightly scratching that silver paint, but I don't want to use a knife and I don't want to scratch it. So here's, you know, a picture of them on. He comes with the standard Yolopark base and assortment of extra hands, but the articulated ones work pretty fine for me, honestly. They're the same size and they do everything that the static hands can do. The Autobot symbol being red is a bit of an odd choice, simply because I'm so used to the movie figures having gray symbols. It's not a bad thing, I just find it kind of funny. He also has an extending PP. All right, moving on. The way this guy works is weird. So Ironhide's design has never really lent itself well to being a physical posable model. Looking at the CGI render, you're like, where are the knees? How do you work the shoulders? Torso joint? So having this in hand, articulating it is a bit of a learning curve. So the head is normal, right? Ball joint and hinge, and it does whatever you want, tilt, rotation, up and down. You get a normal range of motion there, which is great. Plus the chest section. Oh, okay. That, it's just on a ball joint that'll go back on. Pain in the ass, ball joint. Plus the chest section can move out of the way to accommodate that extra neck joint it has in the torso. And then the shoulders also move around like up and down to act as like extra shoulder joints. Now we get to the actual arms. They are back here and they have a rotation point at the base and then an in and out at the shoulder itself, as well as a forward and back rotation. Though they don't go forward completely straight because of how the wheels are positioned, and there really isn't any butterfly motion because of all the stuff around his torso. He has bicep swivels, he's got 90-degree bends at the elbow, and the wrists are on ball joints so they can go wherever you want. Oh, and the hands are articulated too, which I like. The cannons themselves can move around a bit and both can rotate at the very tips. The torso. So there is an ab crunch, but because Ironhide is built like a unit, you can't really tell that he has an ab crunch when it's activated. Though I don't recall Ironhide doing anything fancy outside of him EMPing the ground that one time and then falling over a lot. But he does reveal segments in the back when you do the ab crunch, which is pretty neat. There is a waist joint, but it's a little bit limited due to all the stuff surrounding his waist. But okay, the hips. They did a very clever bit of engineering to get around the way the hips are designed visually, and I really like this solution. So he has hips in the, he has hips. Yes, he does have hips. He has wheels in his hips. That's what I was supposed to say. None of the previous figures really do that properly outside of the MPM, but the MPM does it in a way that I'm not a huge fan of, but that's also because it has to transform. This one, they have the hips like normal, right? Until you get to this like hinge piece where the in and out and the thigh rotation are on that section itself. That then plugs into the wheel, which attaches to the leg, meaning they can keep the wheel thin like in the film and still have the entire hip work properly. It's a very clever joint designed to get around the weird nature of how movie Ironhide is built, and I think this works quite well. That with the very, very, very stiff drop down hips allows the legs to move forward. They can go back all the way, and then they can also go in and out. And there's that thigh rotation. His knees are strange. They are double jointed, but in large segments, so they look really curved when bent. There is a lot of armor that moves around the legs too to accommodate that knee bend or just to look cool. And the ankles can go forward, they can go back, he can tilt and rotate, and he's got toe articulation. There is a lot going on in this to get around all the weirdness of the design when it comes to getting a physical model of this in motion, but I think they did a pretty bang up job with it. They also just showed off their entire 2007 cast, and I'm so hyped to have them all. I'm also very, very happy that they went with classic Camaro B for 2007, and I'm also very, very happy they turned their Optimus Prime, which looked like this, which I didn't like, to this, which is just, they completely reworked it after fan feedback. That's awesome. To me, this is the best Ironhide figure out there because it looks so good. I have the Studio Series one somewhere. I have no idea where it wandered off to, but that one I might just keep in alt mode in front of this guy for like having a 2007 display once the rest of the 2007 guys come out. It's robust and sturdy. Nothing really wants to come off on my copy. The articulation is weird, but it's also very clever. And he just looks great. Again, linked below if you want one yourself. But that's my look at Yolopark Ironhide. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.